When most people think of gymnasts, they think of little girls dancing around the floor doing flips. But actually, they are strong, flexible, world class athletes. All these features can be found in today's gymnasts, and it's part of the reason why so many people want to watch gymnastics during the Summer Olympics. Today, I'm going to inform you about that sport. Opening ceremonies are scheduled to start August 5th, 2016. And it's most likely that the common spectator is going to need a little bit more information about the sport to know what the judge is looking for in a good routine. According to an article in the January 12th, 2012 issue of Technique magazine, published by USA Gymnastics University, gymnastics is one of the most popular sports that's watched during the Summer Olympics. I started gymnastics when I was 5 years old, and I was competing until I was 16. For the past 11 years, I've been coaching gymnastics, so it's safe to say that I spent most of my life involved in this sport. I love gymnastics and could go on and on about it, but today I'm going to focus on giving you a brief Olympic history, talking to you about some of the obstacles that today's gymnasts are facing, and try to explain to you the scoring system that's used in the Olympics. I'm going to go ahead and start with the brief history. Olympics was part of the first modern Olympics back in 1896. And it has been a part of every Olympics since 1924. Now, in this time, only men were allowed to compete, and it wasn't until 1928 that women were allowed to compete in an all-around event. So they would compete on the balance beam, floor, bars, and vault. They would add up the scores from those four events to get their all-around score and replace who received the highest score. It wasn't until 1952 that women were allowed to compete on all four individual events for separate medals. As stated in a book by Matt Christopher, Great Moments in the Summer Olympics, which was published in 2012, one of the first gymnasts was Larissa Latena. She was from the Soviet Union and made her Olympic debut back in 1956. She leaped and danced her way and flipped her way into the heart of the judges. There is a black and white video of her performance from that Olympic Games, and unfortunately it captured her grace and beauty, but compared to today's gymnastics, the skills that she competed seem very simple and basic. And since Larissa's time, gymnastics has changed and developed drastically. Now that you kind of have a history, I want to move on to some of the challenges that today's gymnasts face. Gymnasts are expected to be poised and graceful, but yet powerful and strong. That's not the only difficulty they have. There is a very strong statistical disadvantage to trying to make it to the Olympic team here in the United States. I spoke with Beverly Jones, who is the gymnastics coordinator of the women's gymnastics team here in Salina back on October 15th. She told me that there are 70,000 gymnasts enrolled in the USA Gymnastics program. Of that 70,000 gymnasts, only 0.1% are elite gymnasts, which elite gymnasts is the highest level you can compete here in the United States. So that's only 70 girls. Of those 70 girls, only 5 girls get to go to the Olympics for the U.S. every 4 years. So they're definitely having a very strong statistical disadvantage. That's not the only fight. Once they make it to become an elite gymnast, there's a lot of hard work and dedication that goes into that. Anne-Marie Territon from WTHR Eyewitness News in Indiana got to go to the National Training Camp in Huntsville, Texas, back on July 22nd, 2015. She was able to see firsthand the work that they had to do. She saw the skill tests that they do during every training session. They complete a 1-minute handstand hold. They have to do a timed rope climb using arms only. And then they have to be on a balance beam sitting in a straddle position, lifting their body up over their heads in a handstand 10 times. While she was there, she got to talk to the national team coordinator, Marta Caroli, and she was quoted saying that we are here to do a job. When you step into the gym, that is discipline. There is structure in every single moment. Now, elite gymnasts are typically between the ages of 11 and 18 years old and train about 36 hours a week. I know when I was 18, I was not wanting to be in the gym for 36 hours. So the final thing that I want to talk to you today about is the scoring system. It's kind of complicated, and it was changed back in 2006. It used to be that you received a maximum score of a 10 and you would get execution deductions based on bending a leg or stepping out of bounds, falling off a beam, or if a judge just thought that you didn't flip high enough, she could deduct for that. A lot of people had a problem with the scoring system because if you did harder skills, you took a bigger risk but didn't get the reward. So they decided to change it to help fix that problem. So now you get your execution score, which is still started out of a 10, and you have the same deductions for bent legs, falling off the beam, things like that. But you also have your difficulty score. So the difficulty score is based on the 10 most difficult score, or the 10 most difficult elements in your routine. Now this is the code of points, and as you can see, there is a lot of different skills. They are in categories from A to G, A being the easiest, G being the most difficult. So when you do difficult skills in combination, you get extra difficulty score. So when you're watching the Olympics, you're going to see scores like 16.3. You're no longer going to see like a perfect 10 or 9.9. So hopefully with that brief understanding, you'll kind of know what you're watching this summer at the Olympics. I hope that you enjoyed learning about some gymnastics history and the adversities that gymnasts are facing, as well as understanding a little bit of the complicated scoring system that's used in the Olympics. So now that you've learned these things, you are going to be able to watch the world's best gymnasts compete this summer Olympic Games and have a deeper knowledge and appreciation to what these young women have accomplished. And you're going to know that they're not just little girls prancing around.